All right, let's do this. Let's start with where you're going to make the most money, and then let's work your way down the list. So aerospace, I'm assuming you probably make pretty good money doing aerospace.
Well, I don't know how much time you got, man. Man, there's so many, and I'm probably going to miss a bunch of them. But starting off, you got aerospace. Look at SpaceX. The abilities and the opportunities there are, man, they're endless. That stuff is very clean, very time consuming. I would imagine that it's a very good pay scale for that type of welding industry. Um, and not in no specific order because I don't know the specific order, but there's good money in pipeline. And you always got to remember, man, in any industry, especially welding, if you're gone away from home, you're making money.
All right, welcome to Blue Collar Blueprint Podcast, episode 12. Today, our guest is John King. John, welcome to the podcast.
Good morning. How you doing, Austin?
Not too bad, not too bad. How you doing, John?
Good, doing good, man.
Hey, so I'd like to just hop right into it, and let's give the audience introduction of who you are, where you come from, and how do you get to the point, and just kind of what you do.
Well, my name's John King. I'm from Houston, Texas, born and raised here. Went to high school at Lutheran South, a private school, but don't let that impress you. That's just where all the kids went that got kicked out of public schools. Never went to college. Couldn't afford it. Didn't want to. I felt like I wasn't college material. So I didn't have an opportunity to go. But I started welding and getting in the metal industry and working in a fab shop and working on boilers at a young age, and just came up through the ranks, working on boilers and welding boiler tubes and structural and pipe, various things that I had done. Learned a lot at a young age. I mean, I was running a crew of like 15, 20 men at the age of 21, 22 years old. Just went through the ranks and just traveled a lot and did a lot of rig welding around the United States and around the world. And finally, in 2005, after working in the industry for 15 years, I decided I wanted to be my own boss. I didn't want to work for nobody. So I took that leap of faith, and I never looked back, man. Never did. And in fact, that was May 1st. So here, 3-4 days ago was our 18th year anniversary here at my company. Yeah. So I'm very proud of that. Very proud of my people. Proud of that accomplishment. But I own a company called JKWelding here in Cypress, Texas, which is near Houston. We employ between 40 and 80 employees. We have about a 36,000 square foot facility. But it all started in my garage. That's where we're at now, but it all started in my 2-car garage. Just hustling, man. Going out finding work. If I didn't have a job, I was going to go find me a job. I was going to make dang sure that I was busy making money. I needed to make some extra money for a bad habit that I had. And that bad habit was hunting and fishing. I like guns. I like fishing,
Oh, yeah.
So I had to have something to support that. And my regular job every day just wasn't cutting it enough, So, and I still have that bad habit today. In fact, if you saw my office, you'd probably freak out. It's a lot of deer heads in there. So
I'd love to see it.
Oh, well, I have to show it to you. I have to show it to you. Usually we do a podcast in there, but we're doing an Andrew marketing guy's office today. But yeah, I have to show it to you, man. In fact, everybody walks in there and is like, wow, they're all looking around. I'm like, hey, watch out. It's kind of horny in here, because a lot of horns. So, but, I started 2-car garage and just moved into a little shop and then moved into a larger shop. And then I bought some property, 4 acres here in Cypress and built, 36,000 square foot of a shop. And we've done some really unique projects that I've become well known for throughout the years. We rebuilt the Battleship of Texas in 2014. We rebuilt Kima. It's a large boardwalk. It's on the water down by the coast. The Hurricane Ike in 2008 devastated our community. And Tillman Fertitta, I don't know if you know him. He's the guy that used to own UFC fighting. He owns the Golden Nugget. He owns the Houston Rockets. his people called me, and we went down there and we rebuilt the entire boardwalk. So we've done that. We've done just a lot of projects. I mean, the list never ends. But we actually built the world's largest ringing singing tree. It's an actually a pipe tree that weighs 60,000 pounds and it makes music when the wind blows. It's the only one in the United States. Yeah, we built it. If you look it up, it's in Abilene, Texas. We just moved it about 6 months ago from Austin, Texas to Abilene, Texas, and we just reassembled that and got that done for the city of Abilene. So, well, a very exciting project, and glad we were a part of that, and glad we were chosen for that. Besides that, I've owned about three or four other companies that I have come and gone. A software company, a trucking company. I've sold them off. I generated them from nothing and just sold them, for X amount of dollars in 6 months or 5 years, whatever. And we mainly have just two welding companies now. I have JK Welding, like I said, and then also Trails West Gate Company, one of the world's leading, very interesting gate companies. We design gates for like ranches and horse ranches, cattle ranches, longhorn ranches, deer ranches, even for commercial estate neighborhoods. With large gates, big entrances, and stuff like that. So Trails West Gate Company in Chapel Hill is my other welding company. I purchased it about 4 years ago, and it's doing well. So,
And you guys do beautiful work. I'm gonna have the link for
oh,
Trails West
good.
for sure. Like I've seen those pictures on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
And those gates are absolutely gorgeous.
yeah.
They're an absolute piece of art. Like, I mean, if I wasn't into line work, I would probably be welding because for me, welding was like I grew up doing it. I grew up in the country and whatnot, and my uncles welded. My dad had a welder, and we had welding shop class in high school. And I always welded, and then to me, it was like an art form almost.
It is.
Like it was
It is.
art form. So I really enjoyed it. I just really enjoyed heights and high voltage just a little bit better. So I went that avenue. But well, that's one thing I liked about the welding industry or just welding in general was I just felt like you slap down a good bead and you're like, you can look at it and you're like, man, that's good. I just felt like a certain
Y'all proud
satisfaction.
of You're proud of it. Your old Slick Rick, right? Everybody gives himself a nickname when they look at the wheel and go, "Dang, that's slick." So it's that name in the industry is like Slick Rick. Everybody likes to say that. So, but no, that's good, man. That's good. Welding is art. Every type of welding is art. It's not made for everyone. It's not cut out for everyone. Not everyone is made to be a welder. There is an art to it, especially when it comes to very intricate welding, like TIG welding. You got hand and eye, foot coordination all together. And man, there's some guys that have it. There's a lot of guys that have it. And there's some guys that are just, man, they're phenomenal. I've seen guys that just don't have it at all. Um, it's not like riding a bike. It's like hang gliding. Not everybody hang glides. But the ones that do it are really good. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so you started in your garage. So what is JK Welding? What did you just start out with just like welding anything? I mean, was it just like custom
You know,
fabrication?
man, I've always been a hustler all my life. Still am today. I might not have quite as much fuel in my gas tank as I used to, but I'm still a hustler, man. But back in the day, 18 years ago, man, if I saw a building going up or a restaurant being built, I turned around or I stopped immediately. And if it was early morning, I'd hand the guy a 12 pack of donuts, a dozen donuts and a hat and a card and tell him, look, man, I'm a fabricator, I'm a welder. I can do just about anything. And that's how I got a lot of my business. And sometimes I would go into big corporations, big companies and tell them, hey, I'm here to see someone in purchasing. And if they didn't let me in, then I would come back the next day with flowers and donuts for the girls up front, and they'd end up getting me in. You got to hustle, man. You got to find
Hey,
those ways.
that's like Rick right there.
Slick Rick, baby. Yeah, but no. As far as to answer your question in full, I did a lot of that type of work. But what really got me started was just people needing stuff. Like they would bring me like a little sketch, or bring me an idea of something they needed because they had a problem at home. And I learned real quick, man, is when people have problems, be the problem solver for them. And that way you become the problem solver for their friends and their family, because when you start developing ideas on designing the things as you're a welder and a fabricator or an artist, you find out really quick that if you're helping solve people's problems, the more work just keeps coming and coming. It just keeps coming. So I started designing stuff and building things for people, helping with their issues or problems that they needed. And then I started building barbecue pits, of course, and deer feeders. I think a lot of us, especially us Southern boys, deal with a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sure they do it all over, but I did a lot of cattle guards. I worked for horse doctors and doing horse stalls, a lot of horse hospitals, veterinarian hospitals. That's the kind of stuff that I was doing. And once I learned that I could do work, or I did work for a veterinary hospital or a horse doctor, then I would seek them all out. I would go visit every one of them, and I made my own flyer at the house, and business cards, and I would just drive around and hand that stuff out, just hustling. Hustling is the name of the game, man. If you ain't a hustler, you ain't gonna survive. I guarantee you ain't, especially these days.
Yeah, you're exactly. The competition is real too in any aspect. Like there's just the competition is so high. So I kind of wanted to backtrack too. You said so obviously before you started like JK Welding or whatever. I mean, you said you traveled the country, you traveled the world. You did pipeline welding. I kind of want to get into that aspect because
No, no,
or pipeline.
no pipeline.
Okay.
I wasn't a pipeliner by no means.
Okay.
I was mainly a guy who worked in like chemical plants, paper
Okay.
paper mills. I worked at different, you know, lumber yards, different pipe processing yards, anything but a pipeline. Uh,
Okay.
Boilers, furnaces, car bottom furnaces, heat exchangers. I did all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I was doing.
So that's kind of what I want to talk about is the different avenues inside the welding industry, right? So right now with your own company, I mean you obviously do a lot of things. But like can you kind of just explain the different avenues you can go down inside the welding industry? Like what job opportunities are out there as a welder?
Well, I don't know how much time you got, man.
Hey, I mean I got time as much
It's
time as
gonna
you
take
got.
all day.
No, I know. If you could just give like a brief explanation of kind of like the different opportunities that exist. I know there's many out there. Like you
Man,
just
there's
kind of
so many,
explained.
and I'm probably going to miss a bunch of them. But starting off, you got aerospace. I mean, look at SpaceX. The abilities and the opportunities there are, man, they're endless.
All right, let's do this. Let's start with where you're going to make the most money, and then let's work your way down the list. So aerospace, I'm assuming you probably make pretty good money doing aerospace.
I would assume so. I don't do any aerospace work. I have done a little bit of it, not much, but that stuff is very clean, very time consuming. I would imagine that it's a very good pay scale for that type of welding industry. Um, and not no specific order because I don't know the specific order, but there's good
Right.
money in pipeline. And you always got to remember, man, in any industry, especially welding, if you're gone away from home, you're making money because they can't get no one else to leave home to do it. So the pay rates have to be high enough for you to be willing to keep doing it and making that money. If you're a good seasoned, well known, or a good veteran of the pipeline, man, you make some jack, dude. I'm talking you making $300,000-$400,000 possibly. But in order for guys to do that, you got to be gone. So if you got a family, it's hard. If you got a wife, she ain't gonna hang around. We all know that. If you got kids, man, I feel sorry for the
Hey,
kids, man.
you're telling me, man, there's a lot of guys, the linemen that like to go out to California and go
Yeah,
make the
same
money
thing.
there for the
Same
gold
thing.
rush. And it's like your wife and kids are stuck over there in Nebraska. I mean, you're taking home $6,000-$7,000 a week, but she
Yeah.
ain't gonna hang around.
No, she ain't.
And I've seen it.
You gotta feel for the kids, man.
Oh yeah.
So it's like any industry. Like you said, the lineman's doing the same thing. You're gonna make money, you gotta go away. But as far as staying home and making money, there's two avenues. You either do business for yourself or you work for someone. Okay. If you work for someone, you're going to make anywhere between, I don't know, $30,000 and $150,000 as a welder. Basically, the higher end of that 150,000, those are the guys who just know their crap, man. The guys that can develop and adapt to anything. And I have a lot of those employees, and I'm very fortunate to have those guys. I have several guys that I can take and just throw into a ditch and weld some pipe tomorrow, and then come back on Monday and we're TIG welding aluminum, and on Tuesday we're TIG welding stainless, and then on Wednesday we're welding carbon pipe or we're hanging up a 24-inch I-beam. It doesn't really matter. The guys that can run a punch machine, the guys that can run a plasma cutter, the guys that can run an iron worker, those are the guys. The more you know, the more versatile you are, the more that you learn, and the more you become a sponge as you come up through the ranks, the more money you're going to be worth. And that is just a true fact. So get to know fabrication, get to know your math, get to know your drawings very well, and understand how metal is to be cut, tacked, welded, how it's supposed to be formulated, and how it's supposed to be fabricated, and put out the best product, and you'll get the best money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, show your value.
Show
We're
your value, man.
you're
Yeah, show your
um.
value.
So you mentioned in there math. What kind of math do you need to know for welding? Now, I like to make math videos because I know math is in almost any trade you do. It doesn't matter what trade you get into. There's math involved. How in depth is the math? Because I kind of like making math videos because you get a lot of folks who they're interested in a lineman career, and then it's like, well, you take an aptitude test or whatever. There's math involved, and they're like, oh, I'm 35. I haven't touched math in years. What do I even need to know? It's like, well, dude, here's a video. I'll teach you in the math you need to know to pass an aptitude test or what you could expect. What kind of math would you see in the welding industry?
Well, that all depends on what welding industry division you're in.
Okay.
If you're a tank fabricator and someone calls you and says, hey, I need a 5,285 gallon tank, you've got to know the math of calculations in order to know how big of a tank you can need to fabricate in order to satisfy the customer's needs. So
Mm-hmm.
there's one industry of math. The other example would be like knowing geometry or trig. You know, if you're going to build stairs and handrails, you've got to know what I call the angle of the dangle. And what that is just knowing your geometry and knowing the trig in order to know what angle to cut the channel at or what degree to put the staircase at in order to fabricate it properly. To read
Mm-hmm.
prints and understand how you're going to become a master or a very good and very well known fabricator, you've got to know math, man. And it starts with just basic math, but it trickles off into geometry or trigonometry, depending on what you're wanting to do and what you're assigned to and what your profession is.
So would you say what would you say some like good characteristics somebody could have? They're interested in getting in the welding industry. What would be some, let's say your top three probably characteristics? I mean, obviously like being a sponge is probably a good one. What would your top three be?
As far as skill assets, or as far as uh,
Like just let's just say from a general aspect of like I want to get into the welding industry, what would like three good things for me to have to like getting started?
knowing how to read prints, knowing your math well, and being versatile based upon fabrication and welding amongst just carbon steel and dissimilar metals. In other
Okay.
words, if you're a flux core welder, a MIG welder, a stick welder, and a TIG welder, if you can do all those welding applications and read math and prints, yeah, you're gonna be making six figures or close to it. Yeah, and that's no lie. And that's making that kind of money and staying home. You're not traveling. You know, if you're traveling, you probably anticipate to make more.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then I kind of want to backtrack because then we got sidetracked when I was talking about like
Sure.
the kind of the different avenues you could go down to as a welder. You mentioned aerospace. What else we got?
You know, you have aerospace. You have restaurants and museums that you can deal with and do with. There's pipe fabrication. There's structural fabrication. A lot of stainless as far as kitchens, kitchen equipment fabrication. Just a whole different avenue of different varieties of welding. I'm not drawing any more to my mind right now at this point, but there's a lot. So um, yeah, there's a bunch of them. So
Right on. So weld school, no weld school. How do I get started?
Well, I didn't have no weld school. As far as myself, do I believe in it? Yeah, I believe in some of them. Not all of them. Not naming or throwing out any names, but I, I've been attending like welding events for 10 years for kids now, and I've been to a lot of welding schools, and I've seen some good ones, and I've seen some that aren't so good. But I just hope and see that you invest your money or your parents at a young age, they're willing to pay for your trade school versus your college. Just take your time and know the fact that you want to look at the school and not only anticipate the fact that if they only do welding, they put you in a booth all day. That's not what you want. You need to learn math. You need to learn drawings. You need to learn how to run equipment to be more valuable. Of course, you are of value when you are a welder or when you learn how to weld, but you are of greater value, as I told you before, when you learn these things, as far as like math and fabrication and running different types of equipment or different pieces, different hand tools and various things like that. Um, when you learn that, you become more value. So invest your money wisely and then look into the school that you are choosing to go to by not just from a welding aspect of being in the booth and learning, but also seeing what they offer as far as teaching you, as far as running equipment and a plasma cutter and beveling pipe, grinding pipe, how to fit pipe together, how to fix structural stuff together. That becomes way more valuable than just being a welder. Although there's nothing wrong with just being a welder, it's just all depending on how much money you want to make.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, if I want to get in the welding industry, do my research on should I go to a welding school and then do if I want to invest my money, go to a welding school, which kind of sounds like that's the avenue to go down. Um, I mean, it also kind of depends on the situation you're on in life too, as far as money and all that kind of stuff. But if I want to go to a welding school, I got to invest my time and money and find the right welding school to go to, just like you're saying, to find one that's actually going to teach me all these different aspects and not just stick me in a booth and all right, here's some 70 18 and just weld some stick for a couple hours a day. Like,
If you want to be a doctor, you're not going to go to college just to learn how to cut someone with a knife. You're going to learn what else to do besides that. That's the same aspect of going to welding school. If they stick you in a booth and they only come and check on you 5 minutes every 3 hours and they don't ever teach you anything, it's the same process. It's the same results. Yeah, you're going to learn how to weld because anytime you do anything repetitious, you find your own errors and you get better at it. We all do that. Um, there's so many great people that do so many great things in their life, and they got great at that because they did it for so long. They become a professional at it. Because they've done it so much, so repetitive that they've gotten good at it, and that they get recognized for that. But yeah, go to welding school. But like I said, I didn't go to welding school. Do I recommend it? That all depends on each individual. Um, but if I was to give you my own personal opinion, go to welding school, I wouldn't go to welding school. Um,
okay, well, so if I have a what if I already come to JK Welding, like, yeah, I just can't afford to go to welding school. I don't really like. Is there a spot for me to start at the bottom and work my way up? Where do you see that opportunity?
so there's only so many available opportunities at each different company. Only each company can hold so many employees to be on the payroll at one time. So if an opportunity does arise and the employee shows up, um, that all depends if they're seasoned or if they got skill sets for what we're looking for. Sometimes we get guys that are come here that know how to weld a little bit. They start off as helpers and they learn a lot. Now, the ultimate reason why I was giving my suggestion based upon myself, my own personal opinion of me not going to school, is because to me, you learn a lot more in the shop, hands-on training. Job,
I agree,
yeah,
100%.
yeah, on the job training that you learned a lot more there. You can learn to run 2 or 3 different pieces of equipment and learn how to weld all in one day in a weld shop, depending on what veteran welder is nice enough to show you the way and pave your path for you. Versus if you went to welding school, to learn to run those three pieces of equipment and learn how to weld, just like you did in the weld shop in one day. It would take you like 2 or 3 weeks, possibly, depending on the instructor, depending on the school, and depending on the availability of the different types of equipment that you have at each school. Depends on how long it's going to take you to learn. But on the job training, if you can get close and be friendly enough with an old veteran, an old fart welder, maybe, some guy that's seasoned and he's willing to teach you, if you're willing to listen, man, you're going to learn a lot more. And you know what? You didn't have to pay a dime for it. In fact, you got paid from the company to
I
learn.
know that I try to preach that. That's kind of like I could try to give people trade schools are a big thing right now, and there's
Oh,
nothing
well, I
against
know.
that.
I know.
But it's like I kind of want to also preach to the avenue, like you're saying, you didn't go to a weld school, like you just get started in it. On the job training for me is the best aspect to learn. If you're a hands on learner, you're not paying a dime to go to a school where they have two instructors and 30 students. So, I mean, it's just like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. And there's a lot of times we don't hire guys because they go to welding school because we're afraid all they did was just learn welding. But they come here. I will tell you, at one time, I'm not going to tell you the time, the year, or the people's name, but I actually pulled five guys from my shop, and all five of them went to a welding school, and they all five went to a different welding school. No, not one guy knew the other. These are five different guys. This is a prime example of why we're talking about what we've been talking about. Five guys I pulled in the conference room, and would you believe, not one of them out of five could read a measuring tape, and they all
No.
they all went to welding school. Austin. Not only did they go to welding school, their parents paid for their welding school for them, and it ranged between $14,000 and $26,000.
So you're telling me they couldn't read a tape
Could
measure?
not read a measuring tape.
Oh my goodness gracious.
You see,
See,
you see.
don't get me started on this subject. I'll it's the same exact way for the lineman trade too. Like there's you can go to school for any trade now, right? And you'll spend 20, 25 grand for 4 months to go to a lineman school. They teach you how to climb. And they try to teach you all this other stuff. It's like you just can't possibly teach somebody everything you can teach them like 1% of things in a trade for in a 4 month program, right? And they teach you how to climb, and then you'll get maybe your class A CDL, which you need, and a couple other certifications. But hey, you apply at an apprenticeship or you come and work for the company as a grunt, and you don't know jack crap. Like, hey, dude, first off, don't ever admit to the fact that you went to alignment school and then now because you're just going to get your ass actually picked all day long because hey, do you know how to tie this knot? Hey, what material is this? You're going to get hammered with questions all day long and you don't have any answers, and you're like, you sound like you look like one too, because you just spent 25 grand in 4 months of your time to go learn how to climb a pole, and I could have taught you how to climb a pole in 5 minutes right here with my climbing gear. So the whole avenue, that's the thing.
Listen, the reason why I pulled those five guys in my conference room wasn't because they couldn't read a measuring tape. The
Yeah.
reason why is because none of them could read a welding symbol.
Huh.
Let that sink in.
What'd they learn in welding school then?
I don't know. Being in the booth and popping a hood and being in the darkness, welding every day in and day out in a booth, I guess. But hey, you know what? Instead of getting mad or upset or frustrated, I drew out like 1 inch, like huge 1 inch on the board, on the whiteboard, and I wrote on there. I drew an inch, and then I would point to a line and I'd say, "What is this?" And none of them knew. I said, "Well, what is this measurement?" They're like, "No one knew." And I'm like, "Okay, guys, look, how many quarters are in an inch?" And they finally, one of them said 4. I said, working an inch, knowing how many quarters are in an inch, is the same thing as a gas tank. You got quarter tank, half tank, 3/4. It's the same as a dollar. You have a quarter, 50 cents, 75. It's like a quarter past 10, 10:30, 10:45, 11 o'clock. Everything's in quarters. 4 is your favorite number, because everything's usually in fours. And so I spend some time to teach those guys how to read a tape. And they're better now. but they're learning. But you must know that I can't have every employee like that. I got to have some veterans because then I end up turning into a welding school and I take too long to fabricate a product and I lose money and then I lose my business.
I agree.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree with you 100%.
Everybody always gets asking about, hey, can I come over there? I went to welding school for 3 months. I'm like, I can't hire everybody like that. Hey, Andrew, where is that? I wanted to ask Andrew something. Hold on one second. I'm gonna give you something that's gonna make you laugh here. Hey, Andrew, where's that guy's? Where's my phone at? Right here. Yeah, I'm gonna read you something. I get inquiries all the time about people that apply for positions here at JK Welding. I'm going to
How many employees do you have? Welders.
welders 30, oh, like 30 or 35. Yeah. Yeah. So I had, we get inquiries about jobs all the time, but this one here, I'll read it to you. It says, I get 100 inquiries of people looking for jobs, but had to share this one. Let me know what you think below, but I think he/she drank too much Bud Light last night. So, it says this guy wrote, "Dear JK Welding, I'm here to apply for a job for your welding company. I would like to ask you some questions about the job. How much will it I make an hour?" So he's already asking how much he makes an hour. But
Oh, he's already assuming that he's
yeah,
going to get the job.
we have no
Okay.
idea what the guy is capable of. Okay.
Okay.
It says, how much will I make an hour? How much will I be able to work enough to get a pay increase? He's already asking for a damn pay increase. He ain't even got the job yet. It says, what will my hours be? And will I be able to take off if I need to take off? He's already asking for a day off.
Hey.
All right. Besides that, what type of metal will I be welding at your company? Okay. The first legit question. What will be my responsibilities of this job, and will I have to look after anyone else besides myself? Last question. It says, is this a male dominant workspace, or will I be able to work around females too?
Man, that
This guy's applying for a welding job, man.
ah,
So,
that's just like a random string of questions. That were just like, dude, you're looking for a job, and right off the bat, you're already asking what kind of money I'm gonna be making, what kind of hours can I get? Like, dude, how about you just get off? Like, this is what I can do.
well, I replied to him and told him that the daycare down the street's hiring. You know.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Daycare down
Oh
the
my
street. Yeah, yeah.
gosh, dude, that is
It
hilarious.
is. It is. Well, and we get them all the time, man. We get them all the time. You know.
I mean, you probably get a handful of just people
Uh,
inquiries. You're
I do.
pretty. I mean, 30, 35 welders at at JK. I mean,
Yeah. And
you're
we
probably
always
pretty.
we appear bigger than that, but let that be a lesson to you or anyone else listening or watching. But I mean, you always want to appear bigger on paper than what you really are, so you look like you can handle the world. You can look like you can handle anything. You want to increase your opportunities to everything. But yeah, back to the applications. We get applications all the time, jobs at jkwelding.net. But I also get a lot of messages on LinkedIn. A lot of messages. Guys looking for jobs. They see my videos and they're like, hey, I like what you stand for. I like how you treat employees. We spoil our employees, but we work their ass off too.
I just saw that you post on LinkedIn about switching to 410s and then
We
making
did.
Friday and
We did.
overtime.
Yeah.
That right there would make me want to work for you
There you
tomorrow.
go. There you go. But the guys like it. But you know what? It's not only helpful to the guys, it works for both sides of the fence for us, man.
Yeah.
Because we increase productivity because the guys are already in the swing. They're already here.
Hmm.
Versus startup and slow down, clean up, wash up, go home, clock out, all that kind of stuff. So it's good for both people. They work 410s, and if they do work a Friday and don't get a 3-day weekend, that's okay. The money's worth it because they came in on Friday and they're making time and a half.
I'll do 410. If you're gonna work 40 hours a week, 410s is a schedule to
That's
have.
it, man.
And if you're gonna offer me to come in on
Yeah,
Friday too, make some time and a half,
yeah,
oh boy,
yeah. The guys come in at
I'm on
6. They come in at 6. They get off at 4:45. They get a 45-minute lunch. Yeah, and then
Yeah. See,
any break between there, we don't have a buzzer or a bell that goes off. You know, we have an honor system here. You know, if you
yeah.
at 9:30, 10 o'clock, you need to grab a snack or grab a water, go to the restroom, go ahead. But I will tell you, if you're gone too long, your ass can be shipped out that gate real quick. So we
I
old
love it.
school, baby. We old
Hey,
school here, but we like it.
how it's gonna be. It's what we got to get back
Hey,
to, you know?
we pay good. We expect a lot. You know. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
As you should. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
But
It's,
only have so much work, so much square footage, and so much space for so many people. You know.
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
do get a lot of inquiries. I got 3 on LinkedIn yesterday. 3 guys looking for jobs. You know, just send me their resume. Hey man, if you're hiring, I'd love to come to work for you, man. I love what you stand for. Love what you do with your people. And I think there's been an increase here recently because I posted a picture the other day. I don't know if you saw it, but you know, our 18th anniversary was Monday, but I included in the photo the claw machine.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah, so you know, the claw machine is an attractive thing because you can go and play it. Employees play for free, and they can pull something out of there that's you know, get a day off or get a half a day off, or they can win $200 or $300. We actually have a gift shop here. A lot of people ask me, why do I have a gift shop? Well, like the Astros and Rockets do, why can't we have one? You know,
Yeah.
our gift shop has no cash register. You know, employees and customers get all the gifts. You know, in the gift shop we have hats, we have koozies, we have coolers, we have tumblers. You know, we have all kinds of stuff. We even have chapstick and belt buckles and pocket knives. You know, but we like all that kind of stuff. I like all that kind of stuff. There was actually
That's
an office at one
extremely
time.
valuable to just a company culture in general.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's all about branding and brand awareness. You know,
exactly.
you've got to believe in your company, believe in your people, and believe in your product. You know, I've always had believed in 3 P's. And if you're good, then you get the fourth P. The letter P is what I'm talking about. P is in Paul, but P is in profit because that's the last P you get. But if you can get to the last fourth P called profit, it's because you were successful in getting good people, good process, and good product. If you can get 3 P's, you'll get the fourth one automatically. Don't worry about the money. If you're good at your job, the money will come automatically. Like they said, build it and they will come. They did, and they will.
You're dropping some knowledge in it. I
Come
hope
on, baby.
whoever listens to this, man, this guy is dropping some knowledge on us. Like it's crazy. I
That's it,
mean,
man.
that's the 4 P's. I've honestly never heard that, and now I haven't. I just learned something. That's why I love doing this podcast. I'll be learning
You know,
something
I've
every
learned
single.
a lot of different places, man. I haven't read too many books, but it's a lot of common sense, but it's a lot of street knowledge. But at the same time,
Mhm.
I get a little information from here and there, but a lot of it's on my own. I never had a mentor, but always had a lot of confidence and self belief in myself. But there's a few things that have ticked me along the way that help me remember things or how to do things. You know, I don't know if you ever heard of the guy Marcus Lemonis. You ever heard of that guy's name?
What was his last?
Marcus Lemonis.
No, I was thinking Marcus Luttrell, but not
Marcus
Lamona.
Lemonis. Marcus
Okay.
Lemonis is actually Donald Trump's cousin. Okay.
Okay.
And if you ever seen the show or heard the show called The Prophet, you ever heard of that?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone's watching or listening, you want to learn how to develop a business and get it successful and what to do and how to treat people, watch Marcus Lemonis on The Prophet. You're welcome, Marcus.
Marcus, I'm clipping that and I'm gonna make that go viral
Yeah,
on
man.
YouTube.
Oh yeah,
No
that's
way.
badass. Yeah, it's a great show. It gives you a lot of insight and teaches you a lot. So
Awesome. So I like to kind of we're rolling up here almost on 40 minutes. So I kind of like to end the episode with
already, well, we're just getting started.
I know we just getting started. We will have to do a part two at some
Hey, that's
point, but
fine with me, man. I'm down for it.
like you do, if it gets too long, you know what I mean? People look at an hour and a half podcast and like, I don't really feel like
I
spending that much time.
know, I
People's
know.
thinking, you know, how
Yeah,
people's
and I've had some do that, and you are right because I've listened to some podcasts, and like after an hour, I'm like, wow, man, how you know I got to stop, you know. So
So I like to kind of end these podcasts with giving 3 tips for somebody. Generally, my audience are 18 to 25-year-olds is my audience. That's the age demographic that I'm kind of subject to. So 3 tips for somebody 18 to 25, who wants to get in the welding industry, what are they?
Well, the things that I listed earlier, as far as knowing your math, reading prints, and being able to become a good welder by sticking by a veteran or going to welding school. But the more other things that are probably more important than that, and what we take into high consideration when we hiring someone is someone. First of all, the most important thing you can ever know and remember is to be on time,
Oh,
because
oh
man,
me.
you would not believe how many guys we let go of not being on time. We let more guys go for not being on time than probably more than anything. Late, arriving late. My dog ate my homework. I drank too much beer or whatever the excuse is, man.
There's always excuses. Hey, it's like excuses are like assholes. Everyone has one,
That's
right?
right. But secondly, be respectful and play well with others. Yeah, yeah. Adapt
Yeah.
yourself is what I meant. Be able
Okay.
to adapt and just be willing to do just about anything. Never say no. Somebody wants you to come in early, wants you to stay over, wants you to do a project. You're not even quite sure how to do it. You better figure it out and get it done. You know, show some stamina, show
Hmm.
some confidence in your life, because you're doing nothing but boosting yourself and boosting someone else.
Yeah. I don't know if you did you. I don't know if you had attitude in there. Attitude, big one for you or no?
No, attitude is not as big as the ones I gave you. That was were in the top
Okay.
three, but attitude's probably 5 or 6. I
Okay.
got somebody that's really good. This was a
But
big
there.
this was a big thing on LinkedIn the other day. If you go back and look at my page, you can see that dealing with disgruntled or attitude employees that are skilled versus ones that aren't skilled that don't have an attitude. And there's a lot of people there commenting, back and forth, taking each side. But my side has always been I will take a guy who's willing to learn, who has a good attitude, and that will show up on time over a guy who is skilled, who will backtalk and have an extreme bad attitude. Because all it takes is one guy to have a bad attitude, and you could have all bad apples in your shop or in your company. But the bad thing is when you ruin a good employee, when the good employee sees you tolerating a bad one, take that to the bank.
That's kind of that's my thought process of the whole thing too. For me, it's like attitude's big. I'm not an employer. I'm an employee on a crew culture. So I'm working with guys,
Yeah,
and that one guy on a 4-man crew who just has a piss poor attitude, it affects the whole crew.
it does.
You go through your day, they're negative Nancy.
Yeah.
I hate being around
Yeah,
that
and
because it
look,
affects me.
I'm not employing a bunch of pansies here, man. Believe me, by far, anybody would tell you that that's ever worked here or know me, but or know my people that run the company, But we're welders, man. Some of
Yep.
us are going to have an attitude, and we'll tolerate it. We'll tolerate
Yeah.
some of an
Yeah. Of
attitude.
course.
It's like anywhere else, But
Yeah.
you've got to be able to pull through for yourself and for your team, man, and have a decent attitude some of the times.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, everyone got crap going
if,
on,
if,
whatever the
if you're
deal is.
if you're old and grumpy and you're an old welder, man, we get it, man. We tolerate them old guys. You got to.
Those guys have
I'm
knowledge. So
I'm one of them, man. You got to tolerate me, man.
I know, especially when you're the low man on the totem pole, you're the grunt, the guy just starting out. Like, dude, you're gonna have to deal with some crap. That's just
Hey,
how it
man,
is. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
I still
So
I still clean a bathroom. I'm still low man on totem pole. I ain't ashamed of that.
hey, that's what a good boss does, though. You're not better than anyone
Whatever.
in
I'll wear any
employees.
hat you want. I'll dance to any song you want. A lot of people call and say, "Hey, what all do y'all do? What all do y'all do? What do you do? And what do y'all fabricate? What do you do? Do y'all do this? Do y'all do that? Y'all do this? Do that?" And I tell them, "Man, I do everything." They're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "I'll even mow your grass if you want me to. It's the right price."
You provide the value exactly.
Exactly.
You'll get it.
Be willing.
You'll
Be
do what
strong.
it takes. Hustler.
Be willing. Be strong.
All
Be a
right.
hustler.
So what social medias can people find you at?
You know, we're on everything from Pinterest, as far as Trails West, JK Welding, and my personal Instagram and TikTok, if I can ever get logged back in on the TikTok, it's the King of Welding.
Hey, the way you put it on TikTok, they'll ban you so
Yeah,
stinking.
I know. The King of Welding is my Instagram, but as far as JK Welding and Trails West, you can check us out on TikTok. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest. We even have our own YouTube channel for JKWelding. Check that out. And check out the King of Welding. There's probably like 10 different social media platforms to check us out on. Hey, we got interesting and creative product at both companies. And I live a crazy life, and I post some crazy crap sometime, whether I'm fishing or doing something with my kids, or doing something with hot rods, whatever. So yeah,
And we get started on hot rods and fishing and hunting and stuff. I could be on here all day long.
yeah,
But
we'd have to. You'd have to come down and like stay a couple of days.
hey, don't tell me with the good time.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
in Arizona right now at the moment. It's not too far away.
Where are you at?
I'm in North Phoenix, New River, Arizona, Cape
Oh,
Creek.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know how far that is from Houston, but it ain't close.
No, it ain't that close,
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah,
a flight's like an hour and a half.
no problem, man. Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah, all right, John. Well, thanks. Maybe we'll do a part two one of these times, and let's give an audience some more awesome educational, good stories and things like that. So, really appreciate you coming on and spending the time and
Hey, it's my
helping educate.
pleasure, man. Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me, and thank you for inviting us. And it was good talking to you. And have a great day. And thanks everybody for listening and watching.
All right, perfect. Later.